A healthy sign. The British Medical Association agrees to re-enter negotiations with the government over junior doctors' contracts.
My name is Sadiq and I'm the Mayor of London.
Sworn in as London's mayor, a jubilant Sadiq Khan accuses his rivals of pursuing a dirty campaign against him. While Labour's leader snubs the ceremony, choosing to instead congratulate the new mayor of Bristol. In Northern Ireland's elections, the DUP holds on as the largest party. Also this morning, fears that Canada's wildfires could double in size in the next 24 hours. And Leicester City lift the Premier League trophy after a win against Everton in their fairy tale season. Good morning. We start with a possible breakthrough in the long-running junior doctors dispute after the British Medical Association announced it's agreed to re-enter talks with the government. In the last few hours, the Department of Health has welcomed that decision, which follows months of industrial action and more than 125,000 operations and procedures cancelled. Our senior political correspondent, Sophie Ridge, has more details from Westminster.
Well, finally, there does seem to be a glimmer of hope that this long-running dispute between the government and the junior doctors could be drawing to some kind of deal, even though it's still just a small glimmer at the moment. Talks have been broken down since February, and now both sides have agreed to get back around the table, even if it's just for 5 days. The 5-day truce could start as soon as Monday, and the British Medical Association, the junior doctors' representatives, have put out a statement in which they say junior doctors' concerns extend far beyond pay, and our principle in talks will be to deliver a fair contract that does not discriminate against women or any other group. The BMA will also call for any contract offer, agreed or not, to be put to a referendum of junior doctors. We hope that with both parties back around the negotiating table, real progress can now be made to ending this dispute through talks. So that is the latest from the BMA there, who put out that statement. I think from the conversations that I've been having with Jeremy Hunt and also with the BMA over the past few days, there does seem to be a difference in opinion about what these talks are about, with the government saying very strongly that they want to only limit them to Saturday pay and unsociable working hours. But that said, the Department for Health have actually said that they welcome the BMA's talks. So clearly they have decided to try and accept the BMA statement on the basis for which these talks should proceed. So the Department for Health, a spokesperson said earlier, "We welcome the BMA's decision to return to talks and have always been clear that we want to see a negotiated solution to this dispute that delivers the 7-day NHS we promised the British people in last year's election. From Monday, we'll be looking for resolution on the small number of outstanding issues that separated both parties in February, principally Saturday pay, but also other issues that affect the motivation, recruitment and retention of junior doctors." Now, it's important to say, of course, that it's one thing getting back round the table, but it's quite another coming up with a deal. Although I think the thing that is in the favour of some kind of solution is that both sides clearly want to see an end to the very damaging strikes that we've seen in recent months. This is the opinion of the former Health Minister, Norman Lamb, on how those strikes have affected patient care.
This ongoing dispute is so damaging. Every time there's a strike, more cancelled operations, more outpatient appointments cancelled. So it's causing, it's having an impact on patients, and it's also having an impact on the sustainability of the NHS. Yeah. But the bottom line is, I think the junior doctors have a serious case, and the government needs to listen to it.
It's also worth pointing out that both sides don't have too long to try and work something out, because the truce that they've managed to negotiate only lasts 5 days. So certainly the clock is ticking from the moment they get round that table.
Well, let's bring you some breaking news we're getting this morning. And 8 people, police officers, have been killed in a gun attack in Egypt. The Egyptian Interior Ministry said they were killed by unidentified gunmen in Helwan to the south of Cairo. And we'll bring you more news on this as we get it. London's new mayor has been sworn into office to a standing ovation from friends and supporters, including former Labour leader Ed Miliband and actor Sir Ian McKellen. But the current party leader, Jeremy Corbyn, did not attend. Sadiq Khan used his speech to attack the negative and divisive campaign of his main rival, the Conservative MP Zach Goldsmith. But senior Tories have refused to apologise for the party's tactics, saying they were simply a part of the rough and tumble of politics. Sky's political editor Faisal Islam reports.
A changing of the guard at Southwark Cathedral. Boris Johnson's replacement at City Hall in London could hardly be more different.
My name is Sadiq Khan and I'm the Mayor of London.
After a thumping victory over Zach Goldsmith, commanding the largest ever personal vote in British politics, his staff and supporters, from Ed Miliband to Sir Ian McKellen, celebrated. But after officially signing up as the new Mayor of London, he warned the PM that the Conservative campaign had alienated young Londoners in his first national interview.
For the last few weeks, I've had dozens and dozens and dozens of parents, uncle and aunties, grandparents saying, you know what, our son and daughter was thinking about getting into politics, nephew, niece was thinking about getting into politics, but after seeing what's happened to you, we're advising against that. I'm hoping the result on Thursday encourages young people to get involved in mainstream politics, encourages Londoners of Islamic faith and other minority communities, encourages British Muslims and others to get involved in civil society and get involved in mainstream politics. The decency of Londoners, the decency of British people will always cut through.
Would you want the PM to apologise then?
Well, it's for David Cameron to decide what he wants to do, but I will work with the Prime Minister in the interest of Londoners.
Mr Goldsmith.
The Conservative recriminations from the huge defeats for Zach Goldsmith continued.
Any comments for us about the defeat? Did you run too negative a campaign, Mr Goldsmith?
A government whip, Gavin Barwell, criticised the campaign's fear message. One cabinet minister, a fierce Khan critic last month, trying to offer an olive branch today.
Sadiq Khan was scrutinised. He was scrutinised by the media, by the way, who asked him all sorts of questions about who he'd appeared on platforms with and so on. But he dealt with those, and I think now we should look forward, and we certainly look forward to working with him to get the right policies delivered for all Londoners.
Sadiq Khan chose very consciously Southwark Cathedral as the place for his swearing-in ceremony, a place of healing and unity after a brutally divisive campaign. Divisions that he blames squarely on the Conservatives and on Zach Goldsmith. But any Mayor of London has to work very closely with the government of the day, so some healing of these wounds will have to happen. But he also now becomes Labour's most powerful elected politician, more powerful perhaps than the leader. Jeremy Corbyn did not attend today. He was in Bristol celebrating the landslide victory of close ally Marvin Rees as mayor of that city.
Thank you for coming down to show your support and congratulating us, and thank you very personally for the personal support you've offered me over the months. It really is valued. Thank you.
It's a wonderful day. Marvin Rees, a black man elected Mayor of Bristol. Absolutely brilliant.
Quick decisions are needed, though, over the Mayor's Tooting parliamentary seat.
And when are you going to stand down as Tooting MP?
I've announced today that I'll be stepping down as the MP for Tooting as soon as possible.
So a by-election in a key marginal, perhaps a fortnight before the EU referendum. For now, London's new mayor attracting the attention of the world's press, curious about the record mandate given by one of the world's great cities to the Muslim son of a migrant. Faisal Islam, Sky News in Southwark.
Well, in Northern Ireland, all 108 seats have been declared, with the Democratic Unionists and Sinn Féin retaining their positions as the major parties in the power-sharing coalition. The DUP have won 38 seats, passing the 30-seat threshold, which gives the party more power to block legislation. Sinn Féin is the second largest party, with 28 MLAs elected. Well, the DUP leader, Arlene Foster, is the First Minister-elect, and she'll continue to share political power with Sinn Féin's Martin McGuinness. She's one of a group of senior female politicians now leading major parties outside Westminster. The Sky's David Blevins reports from Belfast.
Absolutely delighted. It's been a very good day for the party. And for these guys! Basking in the glory, Northern Ireland's First Minister-elect celebrated with her winning candidates at the Belfast Count.
I should have had red on.
They filmed Game of Thrones in the studios next door. Arlene Foster had already won the Stormont crown.
There were a lot of critics lining up. They expected us to lose quite a number of seats. They expected other parties to do better than they have. I think people have endorsed the vision that we have for Northern Ireland. Now it's up to us to make sure that we bring forward that vision. The work starts today in terms of trying to make sure that we repay the faith that people have given us.
She'll still be sharing power with Sinn Féin. Martin McGuinness topped the poll in his constituency. His party leader says there's potential for a strong working relationship with Arlene Foster.
It worked with Ian Paisley, it worked with Peter Robinson. I'd like to think that the first woman to be First Minister would show those two men up and show how real progress can be made. And Martin McGuinness, as we know, is a peacemaker par excellence. So we'll go at it with a good heart.
The smaller parties had mixed fortunes. The big winner in this election, the Independents. The anti-austerity People Before Profit Alliance took 2 seats, one in Sinn Féin's West Belfast stronghold. So here in the shadow of the Harland and Wolff shipyard, where they've been counting the votes, they've begun to build the next devolved government of Northern Ireland. And the scale of Arlene Foster's victory has underscored the rise of women in the politics of the United Kingdom.